I'm still doing trial and error, y'all, with these videos and everything. I wanted to kind of give a little outtake on what was going on. Something happened very interesting to me today. And I told you about some of the shenanigans and stuff that was going on before, whatever the case may be. But you got to kind of charge it to the game. So there was some permissions issues going on with some of the machines and or something going on. And so what I did, I got into question mode. I started asking questions like, because I'm searching for these permissions and I can't find them. And if you were to look in Active Directory like a normal person, you're searching through all the domains. So I did everything correct. Some of the other guys that had more rights than me, they said they didn't have any more, but they were able to see it. I didn't look in that one domain. I looked at the entire directory. So you might have one domain, we'll call it ocean, and then we'll call another one lake, and then we'll call one more, we will call that pond. So when I'm given a machine, I'm given instructions on which domain it's supposed to be a part of. So I went ahead and followed that procedure. I did everything that was instructed of me to do. So this particular time, I couldn't find what I was looking for because you're supposed to put in your name. You're supposed to put your name in. And I did that. There might be a little bit of trucks in the background, y'all. So I'm supposed to put my name in, or the name for the person, which I did. And after I did that, it didn't come up. So he found it in a different way, said, well, you're supposed to search in this specific domain. But I said, well, aren't you supposed to look in all the Active Directory? The entire directory shouldn't it show up? He said, yeah, it's supposed to work that way. I said, okay, well, that's no fault of my own. So he was basically saying that one domain is connected to another, whatever the case may be. Long story short, it never came up. So I started showing screenshots of what happened. I wanted to provide proof. And usually, I got my headphones on, so folk, he probably ain't thinking that I heard him say something. And under his breath, he says something about use your, come on, dude, use your brain. He didn't say it directly to me, but he said that whole ass shit and I heard it. So what he ended up doing is I start providing all the screenshots. He came over after saying, well, go check out the other IT guys and see if they would know. I said, are they able to rectify the issue? He said, well, that's something that they could talk about. So I'm thinking, okay, now are you going to use your brain? I'm coming to you because you're the one that's always trying to offer, well, you could come to me for this, that, and the third. So I said, all right, cool. No, they were asking me what's my, is my name Venetius? I'm like, that sounds like a P. Diddy freak off person. No, I'm not. My name's not Venetius. Like they were looking for somebody by the name of Venetius. Yeah, that sounds, I don't know, that sounds a little weird. So I'll keep it going. I'll walk and talk a little bit. So after that, I provided whatever I needed to provide them for. And come to find out, he goes to those guys and they can't really do anything. It didn't show up on their radar the same way. So he said, well, look specifically into this domain. He said, well, then come to me if you got any more questions. I done already came to you and you couldn't do it. You wanted me to go to the other person. So what it was is he probably just wanted me to kind of kiss his ass a little bit or whatever, or talk to him a little bit. But dude, I done already lost respect for you a long time ago. So I'm going to try to minimize my conversation with you as much as I possibly can, bro. So long story short, I just had to get switched one domain to the other. But see, I asked that several different times. And he wasn't able to provide the information. So with that being said, I said, okay, so let's get this clear. If a name or if a domain is not specified for this asset, if it's not specific to this asset, do I use this domain? Yes. Then all the other people start chiming in and doing explaining and all that kind of stuff. All I want to know is which domain do I use? So now that I got that straight, now I don't need to ask you no more damn questions unless I have some questions to ask you. I don't need to talk to you about nothing. I don't need to. So, But I might be having some good news, y'all, in a minute. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm feeling pretty damn good. I'm feeling pretty uppity in myself right now. I might be having some good news coming my way, so, but yeah, man, stay in the question mode. When these folks try to say little slick stuff, sometimes just let them, if you don't even have to let them know that you heard what they said. You don't really have to tell them. You don't have to let them know that. I'm not going to let him know that. I'm not going to say, well, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to say, well, hell, I heard what you said and all this kind of stuff and be getting into it. No. We're not going to do that. We definitely not going to do that, man. Like I say, I'm blessed. I'm not really tripping about all that, man. So, but yeah, use your brain. Now, y'all remember what happened last time when somebody tried to say that to me. And then they started kind of needing my help a little bit. Remember that one time I told you that story where you said, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. Okay. You better eat those words. You might need me to know something. And then when you ask me to know something, I might not know something for you. I might not have it. Here come my bus real quick. So to be tuned, we're going to have some more stuff, y'all. So I got a new piece of software, y'all. I'm really liking that I'm going to be able to use something different. So now I can finally do the reactions how I want to do them. Well, I tell you, this State Fair, you talk about, because what they do is they park out here in St. Paul, and it's kind of hard to get out now because there's so many people. This guy, he's just kind of just walking and everything. So he's taking his sweet time, I tell you, coming out of here. Not sure why people are walking in front of an exit. Not exactly sure why they're doing that, but they doing it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so what I was talking about earlier today is it's bright. I'm gonna take these off again. Thought it was gonna make it a little easier for me to. There we go. I'm always wearing these, y'all, because it's so bright. It's bright in the office and everything. So no, I was adding on. It's harder to talk outside. It really, really is. So I was adding on to a conversation earlier of something that happened. And basically, now that I sound a lot more clear, I can kind of talk about what I observed. So I'm sitting there, like I say, this domain. If any of y'all are trying to figure out what I'm talking about, when you talk about domains are basically an organizational structure in IT, or not IT, but okay, let's say you got a network. Let's say you got a building and you got 200 people that log into one domain. So think of it as a tree. I'm quite sure anybody listening, you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll break it down real simple, so we don't got to go on and on. A domain, think of it as a tree. Think of it as having 5 or 6 branches. Each branch will be a tree, or what they call a forest. So let's say you got one branch that will have all the salespeople, and then you have another branch that might have the field engineers. Then you have another branch that might have the help desk. So you might have 20 salespeople, 20 help desk, 15 IT people. Well, that's help desk too. But let's say you have 35 IT people and they got a domain. So basically, when you log on to your computer is connected to a server or somewhere where you're getting information. You're getting some information from somewhere. That domain, we might call that pod 1 or pod 2 or pod 3. So different people connect to different locations or different domains. Now, when you look at Active Directory, it's a big old directory. Think of it as a big, you remember the yellow, they call it a Dex phone book? It's a big phone book. So you're logging in with your credentials, your password, and your username. And they log into their laptop. So what I'll do is I'll set it up to where they're able to log in. But this particular person, when I went into the system and looked it up, under the domain that it's supposed to be under, it says it has pod 1 domain. He said this domain, this user has other credentials for a different domain. But that's not when I looked it up. There's like a global search where you can look up all of them. And it should theoretically pop up. So eventually he got to the point where he finally agreed that it should pop up. And I showed him screenshot after screenshot. It's supposed to pop up, which it is supposed to pop up. And it did not. So he said, well, just pick that one domain that user is supposed to be. I was trying to get this asshole to understand, okay, how would I know what domain it is if I'm looking into the global database and it's showing me one domain? That's the one I'm naturally going to choose. That's the logical explanation, right? Well, yeah, theoretically that would be the case. I said, okay. So that's why when he made that little comment talking about, dude, use your brain, I said, okay. He didn't know I saw that slick shit he pulled. So this the second time that this little weasel motherfucker done did something. So now I know it's systemic now. Now I know that this is about something else. This is something else. So like, you got a problem, dude. You got an issue. Hold on, y'all. So now I'm looking at this dude like, okay. And I'm thinking, well, maybe he could be talking about somebody else, but a project wasn't going on. So you had to be talking about me. You had to have said something slick. So I said, all right, I ain't going to say nothing. I didn't say nothing about it. I'm not going to let him know that he said it, but I'm adding that onto the list. So I'm going to tell y'all the full story, the whole breakdown, soon as my situation changes. But so I got to get some wasp spray, man. But so let me see here. I guess I can put that there for now. So this dude, let me tell you what this dude does. This dude jumps up and he's like, ask the other team. I'm asking you because remember what you said. You said use your brain. So you use your damn brain. You use yours. I said, is there anything that these guys can do as far as access to give it to me? Well, no, we can't do nothing. Okay, then why am I asking them? So when they finally came over and he took a look and he says, oh, well, pick this domain. Okay, well, that's what you should have said. So what he did is he put a bunch of bullshit in the chat talking about, well, this happens here and this happens there. I don't need to know all that. All I need to know is which place to go to do my job. If I have an issue, I'll come to you. All I need to know, because I had already sent the credentials out already. You know what? I'm seeing too many of these wasps, man. I gotta eradicate these things. It's right under my what they call it, my door, whatever the case may be. And I don't want these things to come in the house. I need to use the restroom, but I mean, I don't know. They might have to just wait. Yeah, so go get this money out the ATM. Go get this bread out the ATM and, well, maybe I could stop. Anyway, man, so now that kind of irritated me because we just had an issue not too long ago that I thought we had straightened out. but you still running off at the mouth. So I just kind of liking little dudes like that. Like you remember back in the day, like man, in the 90s and man, you know what I'm saying, the late 80s and the 90s, man, you be done slap the shit out of them and be on about your day. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, the workplace is the yard. I'm not BSing to y'all about that. The workplace is the yard. They do little stuff. You know, like you dealing with the prison guard. You can't slap with the prison guard every 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You can't really do that. You know what I'm saying? You're still in the yard. So that's what I like to liken it to, because he feels like, well, you know, I'm in a position of power to say something. He didn't know that I heard him. But I'm just thinking to myself like, dude, my skill set and experience can run circles around you. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know. Y'all just don't know how much I've done. And I'm not going to tell him anyway. But, you know, I just thought that was very interesting. It was so quick to pivot. Once I produced all the evidence, I said, well, all right, man, I wish I could show y'all this shit, man. I really wish I could show y'all this shit. I might have to like reword it in a way and type up my own little, so you can see, y'all can see word for word the example. I might have to write it down. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to write down what was said versus what I asked. I said, can this person resolve this issue? So come to find out, they had another little database where now you could go directly into the thing and put in the person's name. It'll tell you what the domain is. That's all I want. I don't want shit else from you. Nothing. All I need to know is what I need to do. And once I know what I need to do, I don't need to talk to you anymore about anything. That's it. I don't need to discuss with you shit. Because we've already had it established that, you know, so, but, you know, sometimes you're going to have those days, y'all, man. You're going to have those times where folks going to be doing little stuff and whatever the case may be. But you know, you don't want to lose your cool. So, you know, I start kind of talking to the other guys like, all right, well, you know, will this do that? I'm asking to the specific because he wants to keep going on and on and ramble. And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. Go ahead and give me the information I need, and then I can just go ahead and do my job. So there's a clip. There's this new piece of software. And I'm going to review it for you guys. And I think this is going to kind of change the game a little bit on how I review things and how it looks. So I want to do a reaction, and I'm going to post it tonight. So I'll see y'all in a minute.